Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Malaysian Young Author Awards Book Launch Series. We are on day 2 of the event. I'm Gwen, your host, and to thank everyone who is coming in right now to thank you guys for coming in. And please share this Facebook Live with your friends, tag them, or even host a watch party. Come along with us with this journey as we meet the second group of young artists for today. But before we meet them, if you guys want to check out the first installment in our series, we have the video up on our Facebook page, so please go and take a look. You get to meet our other young artists from Malaysia itself. But all of that, you can do it after this broadcast ends. For now, we're going to meet the young artists of today. So everyone, please welcome Jen Fong, Joey, Megan, and Josiah. Hi, guys! Hello,
Hi.
everyone! Okay, for all those people who are just tuning in right now, can you please introduce yourself and the book that you wrote? So maybe let's start with Jen Fong.
Hi, my name is Jan Fong, and we are from Malaysia. I wrote a book named The Icy Plains, and it's set in an apocalyptic world where everywhere is icy.
Nice, thanks Jen Fong. Okay, let's move on to Joey.
Hi, my name is Joey and I'm from Malaysia too. I'm the author of the book The Killer, and it's about a boy who went on a trip with his parents, and that's when things take a very terrifying turn of events.
That's really scary. Okay, next up we have Megan.
Hi guys, my name is Megan and I'm also from Malaysia. My book is called The Realm of Prodigium and it's about a boy who gets transported into a fantasy realm during a magical storm and he has to fight his way back out.
Oh, that's really exciting. And finally, we have Josiah.
Hi, I'm Josiah and I'm from Selangor. I'm the author of the book Chawan, and thank you for taking your time. Chawan is a book about the unlikely pair of best friends and their adventures in the Bornean jungle of Sarawak.
Nice. Okay, thank you guys. So all of their stories, along with our other young authors, are actually available now online. They actually have the new flipbook version out as well. So if you would like to get the flipbook version for yourself, you can just go online and get it. They're at 20% discount, so you can get your copy before the discount runs out on the 31st of August. So there are 20% discount before 31st of August. So you guys really want to get it, you should get it now. Okay, let's move back to young artists. Before we actually talk about their book, we're going to talk a little bit more about the MYAA experience. So or at least two of you were actually e-classmates during the Malaysia Young Author Awards workshops. How was the online experience? So I think the two of the people that went for it were Joey as well as Josiah. So maybe let's start with Joey. How was the online experience for you with the MYA?
It was a pretty enjoyable experience. We get to make a lot of new friends from other states in Malaysia from the group events, and I think I learned a lot about the techniques of writing from this.
I see. So what was like one technique that you managed to pick out and you used it in your story? Joey, is everything okay? Okay, maybe I think the internet has some bit of issue, so maybe let's move over to Josiah. So Josiah, how was your online experience with the Malaysia Young Author Awards?
Yes, personally, I had a wonderful experience during the workshop. I especially enjoyed the group activities, it was really fun. And we even won some books for some of the activities. The atmosphere was positive, and I learned how to derive ideas from my everyday life and put them into my writing.
Nice. I see. So if like this kind of workshops, I think are really important for like picking up very writing skills and things like that. So as Joey mentioned just now, there was like some techniques that you guys picked up along the way. So these workshops are really useful for that. Okay, so for the other two, Megan and Jen Fong, because most of you didn't go to the Malaysia Young Author Works workshop, maybe let's ask you a different question. How was your online experience with e-learning? Because the entire Malaysia was in lockdown and you guys had to kind of, sit down and like finally start with like the whole journey of like online learning. So how was it for you guys? Maybe let's start with Megan this time around. How was your online experience?
I found it a bit difficult because like I usually used to the physical classroom experience. So during online learning, I like to have this notebook full of different colors and perhaps some pictures, and then I will do bullet journaling so that it's easier for me to remember.
Nice. Actually, that is a like scrapbooking or like bullet journaling is a very good way of like getting information into your brain. Especially like because when you're in school, there's like so much information that you'll have to like process every day, right? So I think that is a very smart way of actually doing like this entire like learning process. And I think it's a very disciplined approach to online learning where discipline is always being challenged, right? So what about you, Jen Fong? How was it for you?
I think it was a little bit of hassle because we can't meet face to face, but there's also pros to cons. Um, I think it's better that there are no missing books, sort of thing. We have all the materials ready in our home, and we will not be get something like punished for not bringing books. I think it's a good thing, really.
That's also quite true because like I remember mentioning the other day how we always had to borrow books from another class in case we actually forget that that particular subject was on that day. And I feel like we get unfairly scolded sometimes. I feel like we try our best, but then when we forget, it's like don't scold us. We tried, we try and remember. But I think that's a part of school life experience. So thank guys for actually answering that question. Let's move on to our writing challenges. So for this one, I'm going to go one by one and then you guys will answer. Okay, so maybe the questions is going to be where do you find inspiration for your story and how do you deal with writer's block? So maybe let's start with Josiah this time round. How do you find inspiration for your story?
I'm a realist and I'm usually inspired by my everyday life activities. I like to hear stories from my parents, teachers, friends, or reading a good book or watching animes or movies. I particularly like books by John Grisham, and there were days when sometimes I had no inkling to write at all. Like the mental block just hit me, and when I was stuck in a rut, I would leave writing for a moment until I felt inspired again. The best thing to do when you have a writer's block is not to choke yourself and force the writing. Just chill and have a break. You can only write when you are relaxed.
I see. You mentioned that your story itself, however, was actually inspired by monkey cups. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, since young, my dad has always really liked monkey cups and appreciated them. And he's always shown me the beauty of nature. And he even has his own garden that he keeps. And we always spend time together, especially during MCO now, since we're stuck at home. We spend much more time in our garden, looking around and exploring the variety of nature that is provided to us.
And I see that there is a picture of your dog next to you. So you mentioned that you like to
Yes,
play with him or her. Well,
yes, we
like
do.
trying to take a break from things, right?
Indeed, yeah.
You
He
have a
really
really
likes to
cute dog.
explore our garden as well.
Mm, your dog is really. What breed is your dog?
He's actually an American bully.
Oh, American Bully is so cute. Oh my gosh. Guys, the viewers look at the picture. It's so adorable. It looks so happy. Okay, thanks to Saya. Let's move on next to Joey. So Joey, where do you find inspiration for your story?
I don't think I can actually pinpoint where I had my inspiration for this book. I think I get my inspiration from everyday life, my parents, my family, and good books and good movies too.
Nice. I think those are very like important things that you get inspiration from because they are from the surroundings, what the experiences you see, the things that you learn, and the things that you watch, kind of come right back into our daily lives and what we actually write about. So I think that's a very important thing. So what about writer's block? How do you deal with that?
Well, I would usually take some time off writing and get my mind off the story that I'm working on. And in this way, when I come back to working on the story, I come in with fresh news perspective and new ideas too.
Yeah, taking a break is very important for every writer because it's like very easy to like burn out and stuff, right? And it's just like no ideas are coming at the moment. Yes, so it's very important to take a break, especially to all the Biden writers out there. It's very, very important to take a break while writing, just to prevent yourself from burning out and kind of like keep the joy of writing going. Yes, thank you, Joey. Okay, let's move on down to Jen Fong then. So Jen Fong, what is your inspiration for the story?
I think there's no clear, concrete reason why um, I have these ideas. They just pop into my head, but it would probably be the apocalyptic novels that I was reading last year. So that's
So what kind of
maybe
post-apocalyptic novels were you reading back then?
uh, the Maze Runner and Mortal Engines. Those kind of
Mm.
books.
So those were like the inspirations for the icy plains, like why you decide to choose the icy plains as a
Yeah.
and also because Malaysia don't really we don't really have four seasons in our area of the world, so the iciness might be a way of like dealing with the heat in our area, isn't
Yeah.
it? Okay, so how do you deal with writer's block then?
I normally listen to classical music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's normally my style to hear classical music. I don't know about other people, but
Can you share
that's
like
my
one favorite composer with us?
Vivaldi or Cloud Debussy. Yeah,
Cloud Debussy, good choice. Vivaldi, okay, for the viewers out there, Vivaldi is actually the composer of the four seasons. So there is spring, summer, winter, and autumn, and every single one of them has a very different take and nuance on it. Claude Debussy, obviously, another really great composer. You can go and check them out on Spotify. I have no idea why am I promoting them right now. But actually, Jen Fong has given really really good kind of like recommendations for classical music that you should really check out too. Okay, thanks, Jane Fong. So you deal with writer blocks with like classical music, right? So what about Megan? Megan, how do you deal with writer's block?
So I deal with writer's block by usually listening to different music that I'm interested to. Like
Mm.
there is no like specific music that I listen to. I just listen to whatever. Or if not, there are chances that I'm just like you guys and I'm on my bed staring at the ceiling trying to think of something.
I see, I see. So I remember you mentioned like the other day that you like dark academia music. So that's something that I listen to as well, especially when I'm trying to get into the mood of writing. It's quite amazing. Like I even did like a screenshot of it. Okay, so for all our viewers, actually, dark academia music is like a kind of like a theme kind of music thingy where like, the music sounds really dark but also really grandiose. So it's like it's a really grand kind of music that people like listen to and kind of get you in the mood of like running in a castle away from vampires or like even just like reading or like geeking out in a book with a book in a really dark haunted library. It's like the kind of like imagery and vibe that dark academia supposedly gives. So maybe let's scroll back a little bit because I realized something. Megan, what is the inspiration for your story then?
Well, one of the inspirations for my story at the time was a game I was playing called Undertale. The
Undertale.
it's like the overall plot of a human falling to the underground, like a mysterious place. So I thought like I could bring that sense of like strangeness and like fantasy into my story.
Mm, that is really, really interesting because like you mentioned, like in another world, I think when you bring somebody into another world, you kind of like have a chance to like create the world however you want it to be. And I think this game is like quite a significant visual representation of that. I mean, the characters are so cute. Yes. Okay, thank you, Megan. So now let's move on a little bit more to the writing tips. So you guys are now writing experts. You guys are all published authors. So if you can have one tip that you have to share with someone, with any budding author, what should it be? Maybe let's go one round, starting from Jen Fong.
I think if you're a good author, you don't need me to tell you to read more books, blah blah blah, those kind of tips. But I think letting your style shine through, letting your originality shine through, is a key thing in your writing. Don't be too cliche. Don't copy from other people. So that's my tip.
Nice. Okay. Thanks, Jen Fong. Okay, let's move on next to Megan then.
For me, I will like write down the base personality of my characters and the overall plot because like a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, I don't want to write such cliche stuff, but then as they write, they will end up like straying from the main plot and straying from the character's personality because they don't have a firm grasp of what they are like. So I usually write my characters down on like a Google Doc or something, as well as the overall plot. Like, oh yeah, this person is going to go save this person, or like what character development they will have.
I see. Actually, Megan raises a very good point about writing. I think more often than not, when we start to write, the characters are like, cause they're a really huge part of the thing itself. It's very important to develop their personality so that you kind of know how they'll answer in a certain situation. So for any situation that you write, you know what this character is gonna do, and then you can bring it out and like kind of put it up on the surface. So I think it's very important to have a character personality. So that is a very good tip, Megan. Okay, so let's move on down to Josiah then.
My tip is just do it. Go with the flow, be observant, be creative, be courageous. Keep dreaming and don't give up. Most of the time, people lose heart or they may hesitate when they write. So I think that they just have to keep calm and move on and follow how they feel to be, and they have to be bold sometimes. Sometimes you just have to push yourself to a certain limit.
Mm. Yeah, that is very important as well because I think a lot of writers they start something and then they don't end something, and it ends up being a lot of unfinished drafts. So it is very important to actually kind of like finish what you started at least before you even try and improve on it. Yeah, that's a great one. Okay, and finally let's have Joey.
I think that writing is a delicate process and it's never meant to be rushed. So, my tip would be to take things slowly. And if you're not as satisfied as you want to be with your first draft, don't be discouraged. Keep trying and be better.
Nice. That is also very important. Taking it slow. It's one thing to give up, but it's another thing to rush into it, right? Because if you rush into something, it's just never gonna work out. It's just gonna be a mess. So it's always important to take it slow and do it well. Okay, thank you guys for all of your tips. I think they're all very valuable ones that we have to follow. Okay, so we shall move on to the books this time round. But before we able to talk to you guys, I'm just going to do a brief introduction to every single one of your story. Okay, so let's start with Josiah. So Josiah is actually the author of Kawan. Kawan is actually a book about Lee, a girl, as well as her pet monkey. So they actually go on adventures around their area and they actually learn a lot about themselves in the process. And it's actually a very heartwarming story. So like it's really a must read. Then next up we have Joey. So Joey is the author of The Killer. So The Killer is let me just put it like this. After reading it, I was actually very shocked at the outcome. And I think it's a story that is brief. It's a brief story, but it is a one with huge impact. So if you like something that is short, but yet like kicks you in like the gut, like it did for me, which is one that you must like take note of. And then next up, we have Jen Fong, who is actually the author of the Icy Plains. So Icy Plains is a very adventure-based one. It's full of action, and I think there is like it's a very fast-paced novel. So if you're looking for something to kind of get excited about and kind of like delve into the world that is not like ours, I think Icy Plains was one that you must take note of. And finally, we have Megan, the realm of Prodigium, which is actually like another world. A gamer drops into another world, and they have to figure out how to kind of survive in that world with their own skills as a gamer. And I think this is such like a brilliant piece of work because you get like a whole another world kind of vibe, and you kind of like try to figure out how things would go with that. Okay, enough rambling from me. I think I rambled on enough. I'm going to pass it now to the authors to actually introduce the story, and will share with you guys one reason why the story is a must read. So for this one, let's start with Joey then. Why is the story a must read?
Um, I think that my story isn't as scary as it looks like. There is no blood and no gore. So I think that it's okay for children of all ages to read. And I think I was once told that the key to finding a good story to read is to read the first few sentences of the book and read the last few sentences of the book. So, having that theory in mind, I like to write my book in a way where the first few sentences are having a great difference than the last few sentences. And I like to let the readers think that they're hooked in the very first few sentences and that things are not what it looks like.
Nice. Okay, thank you, Joey. That's a very, very interesting way of like pitching a story. I loved it. Okay, so next up we have Jen Fong.
I think my story is a little bit adventurous and a little bit more action. Uh, Loads of people love action and adventure, so I think this is a major selling point for most people. Um, so yeah, please find
Nice.
my book.
I think it's a very brief and short way of saying it, and I like it. It's straight to the point. Just get my book and you understand what it's all about. Okay, thanks, Jen Fong. Okay, next up we have Megan.
The main character is like based off like your regular self. Like you are most likely going to be playing whatever games, could be action, could be whatever scenic one. But for this character, they're playing like they usually play this action game. So I tried to like grab that personality and put in there and see how they would react. So the main
Mm.
character, you could probably relate to the main character themselves. So that's why you might want to read it.
That's really nice. Actually, in reference to this one, I actually thought of something, which is a lot of stories like tend to have character stereotypes, right? So there is a princess character, then there is the villain character, and then there's like a whole other lots of like typical stereotypical characters of it. So I think it's very important to like I think it's very interesting to kind of bring them out of that and like kind of break the stereotype they're in, just so it can create a really like much more well-rounded and interesting story that people want to read, which is really, really, really great. Okay, thanks, Megan. And finally, we have Josiah. So Josiah is a little bit different for pitching his story to all of our viewers. He has a video to show us. So Josiah, could you please show us a video?
Sure. A very good afternoon to all distinguished guests, families, friends, and fans. Welcome all to my book launch. Hi, my name is Josiah, and I am the author of this book, Chawan. Chawan is a novella about the adventures of an unlikely pair of best friends, Meili, a young girl, and Chawan's story begins in the Bornean jungle at Sarawak. It is a very small town called Kapit. The story follows their first love for nature, their grandpa whom they lovingly call Akong, their favorite plants, and their favorite. When my mom signed me up for the Young Authors Club workshop last year, I learned from Miss Catherine to derive ideas from people around me and put them. Growing up, I always listened to my dad recounting his adventures about his pet macaque and his lifelong love for the Nepenthes. So one day, I decided to sit down and put my ideas together, which lasted for a month actually, before I submitted my story for the Young Authors Club story competition. And 6 months later, my book was published. You can check out my book at eStore at catherineclue.sg.
Nice. Okay, that was a really nice and brief, like concise introduction to your story. Thanks, Josiah, for the video. I really appreciate it. It's really, really well done. Okay, so let's move on a little bit more. So we're gonna talk a little bit more about your books by having a guessing game. So this is for all of the audiences out there. You guys please join us. Whoever guesses the correct answer will stand a chance to win a flipbook version of the story that they guessed. So we have 4 flip books up for grabs, one for each author. So please do join us and get the chance to win your own flip book copy of the story you chose. So here are the guessing game mechanics. So an excerpt will be shown on the screen. One of our young authors will be randomly picked to read it. All of our audience, you guys have to guess which story it comes from. And then guess the story correctly, and one lucky respondent will receive a flipbook version of the story that you guessed. So there'll be 4 winners, one for each story. So shall we move on to the game itself? Okay, so this is our first excerpt. Perhaps for this one, let's have Jen Fong read it.
Basilius held out his hands to stop her. Hold on. So I'm supposed to save you guys from this evil king of yours. The skeleton nodded. Her leather boots kicked at the dirt and gravel loosely fell into mouse holes. The skeleton began walking away. The area grew darker. At this point, Basilius was determined to find out her name and what is this so-called legend. He followed her, not wanting to get swallowed up by the darkness. So, where are we heading? Basilius asked the skeleton as she groaned.
Okay, thanks, Jen Fong. So this is our first excerpt. So if you know the answer, please put them down in the comments below. If you want to know how to write the answer, you just put number 1 with the title beside it. And if you can add in the author's name, why not? So just place your answers down in the comment section below if you know the answer to this excerpt. Shall we move on to the second one? So this is the second one. So for the second one, let's have Josiah read it.
It was just like every other racing movie Kate had seen, only not on a motorcycle and with a brother on the back seat memorizing the map. Dozens of vehicles, all in pursuit of the fleeing trio, kicked up a little snowstorm as they clamored to capture the prey. The distance between them was closing. Snowmobiles were at their full speed. They were at 200 miles per hour while the motorcycle, skidding and sliding across the ice, was only at a 180.
Nice. Thanks, Josiah. Okay, so this is our excerpt number 2. So if you know the answer, please put them down in the comment section below. Let's move on to the third one. So the third one, maybe let's have Joey read this time.
Upon a closer look at its face, they saw 2 round, shiny, black, beady eyes, framed by 2 tawny rims staring back at Lee and Akong. Still teary, a flat nose with a broad crescent mouth and on a round moon face, a pair of human ears, all housed in a burnt coconut-shaped head, dressed in an orange hair coat, draped like an overall except for its baldy head. It had 2 long limbs with 5-fingered blackish palm hands, which seemed like a little longer than its legs with 5-toed feet. Strangely though, this animal had no tail.
Hey, thank you, Joey. So this is our third excerpt. So please put them down in the comments if you know what the answer is. And finally, we have number 4, our fourth excerpt. So the fourth one, we have our final remaining young author to read it. Megan, please.
When my mum stepped back into the living room, I could not quite see who followed her. But when the figure stepped into the light, I recoiled in disgust. The clothes he wore were torn severely and dripping wet because of the rain. His hair was matted and filthy. His teeth were gray and slanted, quite a few of them missing. And he was emitting a smell so disgusting that I started to miss the smell of my aunt and uncle's cigarette. Who was this man, and why had my mother let him in?
Okay, thank you, Megan. So that is our fourth excerpt. If you know the answer, please put the answer down in the comments below and we will respond to you. We will announce the winners at the end of this launch. So if you know what is the answer to any of these 4, please do answer them in the comment section below. So thank you to all our viewers who have joined in. While we wait for the winners to come out, let's move on to our next question. So to all of our authors, if you were to choose a celebrity who would be casted as a main character, who would it be and why? So maybe first off, let's have Megan share with us who she would like to have as the 2 main characters.
Well, for the main character, the one that you follow throughout the story, I think that this famous YouTuber called Tommy in it would be able to portray the energy depicted in the story.
So why Tommy in it? Because he's a YouTuber. So what does he do as a YouTuber? Why him of all other people?
Well, one of the things is that he plays games, like much like the main character in the story, though the games
Mm,
are much different.
I see, I see. Okay, yeah, he does have the look of a gamer. He does look like someone who is like a main character in the story. Well, okay, then what about your other one? You mentioned that you have two main characters in the story, Basilius and Siren. So if this is Basilius, who will be his Siren?
So I think Siren will be depicted by Nikki Mihachu, also another gaming YouTuber,
Oh, okay. Why? Why her?
because she's strong, she's powerful, and she can, even though she's like, even though she can be like really angry, really dark and broody at times, she's also like really kind and caring and like cares for the ones that she loves the most.
That's really, really interesting. Okay, so this is the first time we actually have two YouTubers be our celebrity of like as the caster as the main character. But I do agree that they seem very fitting for the role itself. Especially I think when Nikki Rikachu, when I went to her Instagram, she has a very grungy kind of feel to her. So I do agree that she'll play very well the role of Siren herself. Okay, thank you, Megan. So let's move on next to Jen Fong.
Hi. Um, I think the main character, who is Kate, the role should go to Melissa Simmons.
Millicent
And for
Simmons.
the rest of the supporting characters, I think the auditions are best, you know.
Left to wait and
Yeah.
see who they are, right? So Melissa Simmons, why her of all people? She was the actress in The Quiet Place, if I am
Yeah,
correct.
she was really great in it. So
I see. So do you feel that
she's a
she will
great.
play a great role for
Yeah.
Kate as well? I see, I see. Maybe I think we do have a picture of Simmons somewhere, but yes, I think we actually do have a picture of her. So for our viewers, yes, this is I keep going the wrong direction. Yes, this is the Millicent Simmons who's gonna play the role of Kate in Jen Fong's story. Yeah, she looks very fitting as well. You guys are all choosing very good people for that. Okay, so let's move on to Joey.
I
So Joey,
think
do you
the
have any
main
celebrities?
I think the main character of my story would probably be played by Freddie Highmore.
Oh, Freddie Highmore. Okay, why Freddie Highmore?
I think he is meant to play characters that are more dark and shy. Yeah, probably more introverted.
I see, I see. I don't have a picture of him, unfortunately, but if you say that he is gonna play a perfect dark character, I believe you. So Freddie Highmore. Okay. Thank you, Joey. So let's move on down to Josiah. So Josiah, do you have any celebrities in mind?
To be honest, I have not thought of any as yet, but I should
Mm-hmm.
think that she has to be a Hokkien speaking Asian girl for Mei Li to be real.
Oh,
And the
that's fair.
voiceover for Chawan, I'd like to play that role myself if possible. I
Hmm.
should know how he behaves after all.
I mean, that's really cute. I think if like the author plays a part in like the movie, I think it's always very iconic when that happens, right? Like when you're watching a movie and suddenly you're like, hey, wait a minute, I know this person. Oh my god, is he not the author of? I think that is always like a really brilliant like plot point to have in the story. Okay, so thank you guys for sharing who your celebrities will be. Um, I just received word that we have the winners for our guess the book challenge. So maybe we can flash them down below to see who they are. Okay, so for the winners, congratulations to Ding Chong, Cameron, Highland Station, Lilian Go, and Boon Hee. You guys are the winners of our Guess the Book challenge. If you guys please do contact please WhatsApp 6588210431 your details to claim your prize. It's just right down below. So please WhatsApp them your details to claim a prize. Or if you may or may not WhatsApp them, you can actually drop a DM to our Facebook page and we'll respond accordingly. So do remember to WhatsApp your details in order to claim your prize. So thank you to all who actually participated in our game itself. That was really amazing. We have quite a lot of people coming in post their answers to the story. So congratulations once again to all of the winners. With that said, we will move on to inviting you guys to MYAA. So we have actually two of our young artists here who are part of MYAA, and we would like to invite you now to join us in the Malaysia Young Author Awards 2021 on July 24th to 25th and 7th to 8th August. So those are the dates. Oh, it's on the screen right now. Those are the dates for our Malaysia Young Author workshops. So if you are 13 to 17 years old and you have like a story in mind that you would love to have published, or if you just want to kind of get a parent to get your child to write more, please let them join this year's MYAA and give them a chance to represent Malaysia, because the winners of the Malaysia Young Author Workshop will get to compete in our first ever Asia Young Author Awards against our partner countries, including Singapore, Philippines, and India. So Malaysia, you know, if you're going to represent Malaysia in this competition, please join us, because this will be an amazing opportunity for your child to be representing Malaysia itself. So if you want to get your child to join, please screenshot this slide that we are showing now, or scan the QR code at the bottom, just to find out how you can, you know, sign up for this workshop and get your child started on publishing their own book. Okay, so we actually reached the end of our segment, guys. We are at the end. Okay, so to end this thing, any message to the people who have supported you throughout this writing journey? Maybe let's start with Josiah this time.
I would really like to thank my dad for sharing his life stories in detail with me, and for sharing his love for nature with me, and my mom for always being supportive of my writing, for always backing me up and always helping me even when I hesitate sometimes, or when I have writer's block. She helps me build flow again so that I can continue, and she proofreads my writing. And also to all of my teachers for being the biggest source of encouragement and learning to me. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Josiah. That was really sweet. Okay, next up we have Megan.
Even as a writer, it's like rather hard to put it into words. But the thought of a random person on the internet taking the time to stop and perhaps go and read my book just blows my mind. Like, thank you for reading, and thank you to everyone that has supported me. I would like to show my gratitude, but I don't know how to say thanks without sounding repetitive and disingenuous. So the easiest thing to do is just scream into my pillow and hope that the universe managed to convey my sincerest gratitude.
Okay, thank you, Megan. Okay, next up we have Joey.
I'd like to thank my parents for sticking with me through such a long journey. And I'd like to thank my dad because he was the first person to read my book and he proofread it and he said it was a really good story. So I'd like to thank him.
Oh, I think that's really sweet. And especially parents who proofread your children's books. You guys are amazing. Okay. Always do that, because as writers, I think all of us are very insecure people, because we're afraid that, you know, our works don't sound good. And I think it's very important to have people to proofread, even if it's like family or friends, or even just a random person on the internet. I mean, heck it, we have Wattpad online right now, right? You can just put it out there, and people will kind of read the story. It's a bit nerve-wracking to actually get someone to read a story, but I think it's an amazing opportunity to kind of get it validated and kind of like, you know, perfected and sorted out once and for all. Okay, finally, we have Jen Fong. Who would you like to thank?
I'm not really good at sentimentalities, so I'm just going to say thank you for everyone for supporting me.
A bit short and sweet. That's the best way of going and putting out there, like, thank you all for everything. Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Okay, so thank you guys so much for coming in today and sharing with us more about writing your books, as well as the stories that you have come up with. And to all our viewers, thank you for joining us this afternoon. It is not the end of the book launch. Okay, so this is actually the second installment. The final installment will take place next Saturday at the same time, 3 p.m. So if you want to see more of our Malaysian young authors, please do stay tuned till next week. Yeah, and once again, if you want to purchase any of their books, you may do so at the link down below. lying down below, which we'll be showing in a bit. The newly released flipbook versions are now on sale at 20% off till the 31st of August. So you can see the link down below. So you want to purchase the flipbook version, the hard copy version, the ebook version, just head down to the e-store and you'll be able to find all of their stories. So to our young authors, thank you guys so much for coming again. We wish you luck on your writing journey. Stay creative, and we see you again soon. So thank you to all of our viewers, and have a good day ahead of you. Bye!